Now when you see problems using these notes, what we're going to be doing here in this first one is writing the exponential as a logarithm. So I'm going to be taking something that's in this form right now, and I'm going to rewrite it in this form. And all it is just following a pattern right now. We'll get into the details about what it means, of course, later. But right now it's just following the pattern. So you notice the first thing that I'm going to be writing when I write my answer here is log. And yes, that is L-O-G. That's not 10G or anything like that. That's L-O-G. I'm going to make it a curly L just to emphasize that fact. It's going to be log, and then the next thing I write there is the B. Now the B is a subscript. It is written smaller and it is lower. And now I look over here to see where that came from, and you can see that's whatever number is raised to the power of something. So in this case, B is 5. So it's going to be a small, low 5. When you write it out on your paper, make sure that you're writing it smaller and lower. Just like an exponent is smaller and higher, your base is smaller and lower. Then, the next thing I write in my logarithm, in my notes it's called y. So I look over here and I see where does the y show up. That's the number that's by itself. And so in this case, that's the 10. So it's log base 5 of 10 equals, because equals is the next thing you write, and it equals x. Now I look over here and I see where does the x come from. You notice the x comes from the exponent. And so log equals then the exponent. So this is what it is in log form. Now as you look towards remembering this process, because of course within a week or two you should have it memorized, especially because we'll have a test with no notes on it, so you have to have it memorized there. But as you work on memorizing it, I'll tell you the easiest thing to remember at first is that log always equals the exponent. And if you remember that log always equals the exponent, then you know that the part that it's equal to over here, that's wherever your exponent was. And that's going to help you do that. Now, we'll take a look at the second one here in just a moment. But before we do together, please do that one yourself. Write that in log form, please. All right, so for doing this one, the first thing I write again is I write the log. So L-O-G. Then I'm going to write the base, smaller and lower. My base here is whatever's raised to the power. That's the h. The next thing that goes in is the number that's by itself. In this case, that's the letter W. So it's log base h of W equals. Log always equals the exponent. And so it equals m. So that's how we convert from exponential form into logarithm form. Now the other thing we're going to be doing with switching the forms is we're going to go from log form into exponential form. And so I'm going to take each of these logarithms and go the other direction. So of course write down the original question and then we'll write down our answer here together. So when I write it in exponential form, the very first thing I see in my notes here is I see the b. So I look over here at the log and I look to see where does the b come from. You notice it's the base. It's the number that's written smaller and lower. And so that's going to be the 2. So I write the 2 first. The next thing that gets written in is the x, my exponent. Notice where that comes from. Because of course remember, log equals the exponent. So whatever log is set equal to, that's going to be my exponent. In this case, that's the 4. So it's going to be 2 to the power of 4 equals, well, we can look at our notes and see that it's wherever that comes from, or I could just say process of elimination tells me it's got to be the x. And so that's our exponential form here. 2 to the power of 4 equals x. Repeat the process, please, on your own first. Convert this last one into exponential form. All right, so changing this one into exponential form. The first thing I write down is the base. That's n. And then that's to the power of something. Well, remember, log always equals the exponent. And so I know that's got to be the c because that's what the log equaled. And then process of elimination tells me the other has to be a. So it's n to the power of c equals a. That's your final answer in exponential form.